Hi guys, it's Arcus here again on What Have I Been Watching, and today I'm gonna list down all of the Twice albums and I'm gonna rank them from worst to best according to my own opinion. And before I get into the ranking itself, I would like to mention that I will only be ranking the Korean albums, so I will not include BDC or BDC repackaged, and also not the singles Breakthrough or Happy Happy since there are Japanese releases, and I thought I would make it easier for myself if I just kept to the Korean albums. So, at last place, I put down Yes or Yes, and before I say anything more, I absolutely adore Twice, and I really like the group, but when it came down to it, Yes or Yes has some of the more lacking album in my opinion. I didn't really like the title track as much as I loved all of the others that they produced on their other albums, and the B tracks are a bit, yeah, they're not super great, and I definitely enjoyed some of the other albums more, and the concept in itself is, well, it's a bit odd as well. I didn't really think it suited Twice, especially not in the Yes or Yes MV, because they're playing like magicians, and I mean it's cute and all, which is typical of Twice, but I just didn't really like it. The only upside to it, I definitely enjoyed Jungjan's with a bit of longer hair. She was really good in it. And at 10th place, I put down Signal, and I know a lot of you don't like Signal, but I actually enjoyed this title track quite a lot, and it takes some time. You have to listen to it a few times before you get into it, because when you hear it the first time, it sounds a bit weird, honestly, and I get they were trying to experiment a bit with it, but I enjoy it, but you have to get it a couple of listens before you can actually get into it. And the concept itself for Signal is, again, it's quite weird. And the MV for Signal, where they have an alien in it, and just that is a really bizarre video to watch. And that is one of the reasons why I put it down a bit. And also some of the B-sides are not of the strongest songs that I feel like Twice has produced. So at ninth place, I put down Twice Coaster Lane 1. And let me just say that from here on and upwards, it was really difficult to place the albums in an order, and it's just small differences that doesn't mean it could be a simple song or just the concept in itself. So for Twice Coaster Lane 1, it's such an adorable concept and I really like it a lot, especially TT was one of the greatest songs that they produced, and it follows Twice perfectly, and it was really good. I feel like it still lacks a bit, and yes, some of the B-sides are okay as well, but the concept in itself is, I was not a huge fan of this era either, and again, this is my personal opinion. And then at number 8, I put down the special album released the year of Yes, and I know I stated before that Yes or Yes was my least favorite album, but when they released the year of Yes and they added 2 more songs to it, which were Korean versions of the Japanese single BS1 that was released on BDC, and also the first track. And for me, this really elevated the whole album to another level that Yes or Yes didn't for me. And I also enjoyed this concept more because it's a bit of word towards the end of the year. They're summing up what happened during the year, and I also really enjoy the photo book in this album. So that is why I'm ranking it higher than Yes or Yes, and as well as a couple of other albums. So at 7th place, I put down Twice Coaster Lane 2. And yes, this is also a special album, and I will be ranking all of the special and normal versions of the albums. And the reason why Twice Coaster Lane 2 is above Lane 1 is, well, clearly because it still has the exact same songs at the first album, but this time they added 2 songs as well to the album with Knock Knock, and I thought this was a really cute song that made me really happy when I listened to it, and it made me smile a whole lot. So therefore I ranked it up higher, just for this reason alone. And then at 6th place I put down The Story Begins, and honestly at some times this was my favorite album, but I've begun to enjoy the other albums more, and well, this album is so iconic for them as well, because this was the first album that they ever released. And I'm just gonna point out one thing: we need to have Momo back with her blonde hair. I thought it suited her so well, and I really hope that she will go back to it sometime in the future. That is something I really enjoyed about this concept, and they were so fresh and new out in the K-pop world, and it's just an adorable album all itself, and the photo book is amazing as well. So at number 5, I put down Twicegram, and again, there's so many small differences that really does this ranking for me, and it just comes down to my personal liking of the songs. And fittingly enough, this album featured Likey, and this was such a cute concept again, and I really enjoyed the whole MV where they had filming them. They had their own camera and were filming, and they were just having a blast. And also some of the B-sides in this album is really fantastic as well, and all the concept in itself, like with all of them, are just cute and always like that. So that's why I'm putting it at the 5th place. Now I'm gonna go down to my top 4, and at 4th place I put down Merry and Happy, which is their special release of Twicegram, which they released during Christmas. And I'm just gonna say one thing, that Twice needs to release a full Christmas album, because this entire concept with them around Christmas was so adorable, and I really need a full Christmas album. And they only featured one Christmas on it, which was Merry and Happy, and I absolutely loved it. And it still has all of the other tracks that Twicegram has as well. So if you're going to buy one, I recommend you buy the special albums instead, because they feature more songs than the normal albums does. And however, the art books and in the albums itself are different, the photo books, so that depends on what you like. Personally, I like Merry and Happy a lot more because of the Christmas theme, as I said before. And now at number 3, I put down What Is Love, and this is also one of those concepts that was really cute when I watched it. And again, now some of the B-sides are getting stronger on the albums. It's just not just, you know, the title tracks that are important. I mean, some of the other albums feature great second songs as well, but What Is Love has one of my absolute favorite songs that Twice has released, and it's called Deja Vu. And this is one of my personal favorites that Twice has released, and therefore the album goes quite high for me. And then at number 2, I put down Page 2, which is their second album that they released, and this album was the start of Twice. It was what made them a sensation in both Korea and in the world in itself. This was like the launch of Twice, because they released it with Cheer Up, and this became such a huge concept, and it just blew up and made them so famous and recognizable, because in the beginning not a lot of people knew who they were, except if they had watched 16. So therefore they really became big with this comeback. Let me just say one thing. Sana's line with Shy 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 has become one of the most iconic lines of Twice, and is so recognizable, and there are so many other celebrities that have done this, and it's just so funny to watch every time. So it really elevates the entire thing for me, and I really love the concept as well. And one of the other songs on the album that I really like is Touchdown, and this was such a good bop, and it made you so happy and energized when you listen to it, so it's perfect for working out. Okay, so now we've come down to number 1, and I actually have a tie, because I could not possibly decide which of these two were better. So I have a tie between Fancy, which is their latest comeback, and I also have it tied with Summer Nights, which is their special album that they released, which features the same songs as What Is Love, but they also added Dance the Night Away and Chillax and Shot Through the Heart. And for me it came down to these two, and I just couldn't decide between them, because on the one side I loved Fancy comeback because it was a bit different from they done previously. They've grown up more and come more mature, and all of the songs on that album were great. I loved all of the 6 tracks on it, not just the title track, and Strawberry was super good, Turn It Up and Hot, and it was so nice that the members were actually a part of the album and they co-wrote some of the songs and lyrics. I know Chaeyoung wrote Strawberry, and I know Momo wrote Hot, I believe, and there was another one as well that another member wrote. I can't remember now in my head, but So that was really nice to see them participate in an album like that. I know they done some previously, but this was really the album that they contributed to a lot themselves. And then, as I said, Summer Nights, I just adored this concept of having a summer comeback with Dance the Night Away, which is such a great summer song that gets you in such a positive mood. And the photo book in this Summer Nights album is so amazing as well, to see them on the beach just having fun. And so therefore I could not possibly decide between these two albums, so therefore I'm ranking them both at number one. And honestly, I could maybe have put all of the albums at number one, because I love them all so much. But anyways, this is just my personal ranking of the albums. I'm really curious to see what your favorite album of Twice is, so leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to stick around, consider subscribing if you want to see more of this in the future. And yeah, as always, this has been Arcus, signing off.